Hello everyone. Superheroes from comic books are a major staple in culture today. They are symbols of justice, truth, and overall good. However, supervillains are just as popular among fans. Today, I've amassed a list of my favorite heroes and villains to share to you today. So here they are, my top 10 favorite comic book characters. Now I've split them up from 5 to 1 for heroes and villains. So, let's go. Number 5. Loki. Loki is an intelligent, sly, power-hungry Norwegian god. Actually an ice giant adopted by Odin, he and his brother Thor were always at odds. When Odin chose Thor to be the heir to the throne of Asgard, Loki was enraged. He has tried to take over the Earth many times so that he may rule a planet, but failed. He is the main antagonist in the movie The Avengers, one of the best superhero movies of all time, and I find him funny, especially in Thor 2. He's a cool and interesting character, and a nice contrast of Thor's personality. Number 4. Probably the most well-known comic villain in history, the Joker's backstory is kind of ironic. The Red Hood gang was a gang of criminals who would always hire a thug to dress up in a red hooded costume to look like the head of the group and be the distraction. Well, one night in Gotham City, that very distraction was being chased by Batman. He ran into the Ace Chemicals factory before Batman caught up to him. However, the man was knocked into a vat of chemicals by accident. The man's hood melted away. His skin turned white, hair green, lips red, and it drove him insane. This man became the Joker. Batman had created his worst enemy that night. The Joker's crazy, unpredictable fighting style and over-the-top antics are always fun yet horrifying to watch. He's my best fighter in Injustice, and his crowbar is absolutely deadly. Heath Ledger's performance in The Dark Knight is my favorite live Joker. The Clown Prince of Crimes and Sanity is unmatched, and that's why he's my number 4. Number 3. Bane. A young boy born in a prison who grew up to be a feared and very strong prisoner. He read books every day, gaining an advanced intellect. However, when the government needed test subjects for a super soldier formula called Venom, Bane was the chosen guinea pig. However, they had no idea how strong it would make him. With the help of a few prisoners, Bane escaped. He had heard of the Batman and wanted to prove he was the stronger man. He quickly figured out Batman's identity, sent many criminals after him to wear him out, then hid in his mansion waiting for him to return. Exhausted, Bruce was ambushed by Bane and his back snapped. It takes a good criminal to A, figure out Batman's identity, and B, break him. Tom Hardy's version of Bane in The Dark Knight Rises is just awesome.
His voice is quite iconic and fun to impersonate.
However, when on Venom, while his strength is off the charts, his brain power plummets, but either way, he is one bad dude. Number 2. Harley Quinn. Dr. Harleen Quinzel was the new psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum. She found interest in the establishment's toughest case, the Joker, so she took on the job of rehabilitating him. Telling her his tragic backstory, he slowly took control of Harley, and she fell madly in love with him. Eventually, she broke him out of the asylum and teamed up with him as the supervillain Harley Quinn. As my second best fighter in Injustice, her giant hammer is a deadly weapon that can really do some damage. First appearing in Batman the Animated Series in 1992, she became so popular she was introduced into the comics in 1999, and for a good reason. She's interesting, a formidable foe, and really hot. Sorry, what? Number 1. Scarecrow. There once was a young, lanky boy named Jonathan Crane. It seemed as though the world was out to get him. His grandmother tortured him at home, and he was always harassed by his peers at school. At the age of 17, he worked up the nerve to ask a girl named Sherry Squires to a Halloween dance at school. She accepted, but unknown by Crane, she had a boyfriend, Beau Griggs, who planned with her to make a fool of him. At the party, she led him to a dark room where Beau, dressed as the Headless Horseman, surprised Crane and threw his jack-o'-lantern head, hitting Crane in the neck as he ran. Crane was fed up and plotted revenge. Dressed in a Scarecrow costume, he drove up next to their car with a fake gun with the intention to scare them. This, however, caused them to crash, paralyzing Beau and killing Sherry. Crane then became obsessed with frightening others to death. That night, he also murdered his abusive grandmother. He went to college and majored in psychology, but dabbled in chemistry. He created a powerful hallucinogen that made his victims experience their greatest fears. He used it on his professor, killing him. He then became the new professor, focusing his class on the psychological aspects of fear. He was later fired for firing a gun in class to demonstrate the body's reaction to fear. He subsequently murdered all involved in firing him. He then got a job as a psychologist at Arkham, testing fear-based experiments on patients with his fear gas. He finally decided to live a life of crime, and using his old costume and an insult from his childhood bullies, he became the Scarecrow. He became my favorite character after I watched the movie Batman Begins, and he was played by Cillian Murphy. He fascinated me. I was even him for Halloween. His Arkham Asylum incarnation is also a favorite, and I can't wait to face him in Arkham Knight as the main villain. He has almost killed Batman on multiple occasions. Many things have happened to him that make him even cooler. He was once transformed into Scarebeast, a monster with super strength that emitted an even more powerful version of the hallucinogen. Another time, he obtained a yellow power ring from the Sinestro Corps, an intergalactic army powered by fear. He is one of Batman's most destructive and challenging foes, by far my favorite comic book villain. Now, onto the heroes. Number 5. This one was close. Spider-Man or Green Lantern. They're both great heroes in their own rights. So it eventually, for me, came down to who could win in a fight. So number 5 is Green Lantern. Hal Jordan, aka Green Lantern, has some pretty nifty abilities. If being abducted by a dying alien into an intergalactic police force that is powered by willpower isn't cool enough for you, he can fly, somehow survive in space without oxygen, and most importantly of all, make constructs. Let me explain. With his mind and his green power ring, he can create practically anything out of thin air. Tied up in stainless steel cables? Just make a buzzsaw. In a duel with an enemy? Make a giant green fish to crush all who oppose you. Sorry. His powers are really cool in my opinion. Oh, and there are also plenty of other colored lanterns, but we don't need to talk about them right now. Number 4. Guardians of the Galaxy was one of, if not my favorite movie that came out last year. It was thrilling, action-packed, and hilarious. And the main character of Starlord, played by Chris Pratt, is the focal point in all aspects. Now I know that there is a comic and an animated series about these guys, but I like the design for him better in the movie. The red jacket, the blaster, the awesome looking mask. I almost got his outfit from my Xbox avatar, but I went with a Daryl costume instead. Now I know you might be thinking, oh, Peter Quill isn't a superhero? It's made by Marvel Comics, so I'm counting it. His character is well developed. He has a slight cocky attitude, but around his friends he can be very sarcastic, but also kind of soft. He's a very well-rounded character, but best of all, he is funny. His lines make me laugh every time I watch it. If you haven't seen it, then what is wrong with you? Go see it. You don't know what you're missing. Number 3. Deadpool. Insane. Comedic. Sarcastic. Violent. Perverted. All adjectives that people might use to describe this man, and they will be 100% right. Wade Wilson is a skilled combatant armed with swords, guns, knives, explosives, you name it. Within his head there are multiple voices. First his own, along with a deep, more serious voice and a high-pitched sarcastic voice, each giving Deadpool his crazy and hilarious personality. Again, I can hear you saying, but Deadpool is a villain, not a hero. Please, stop doubting me. He's more of an anti-hero, similar to Starlord, but more morally ambiguous. He does what he feels is right, but sometimes his other ideas can cause him to do things that some more official people might call illegal. He has a healing ability, making him practically unkillable. He can be cut in half, mangled, shot, even have his head explode, and he will come back in a matter of seconds. He's not one you want to get on the wrong sides of. Number 2. Iron Man. Tony Stark, a billionaire weapons manufacturer who also in his spare time puts on a robotic flying suit and fights crime. Unlike other superheroes, he is very open to the public on his heroic identity, seeming somewhat vain to his co-workers, Thor, Captain America, and the Hulk. He is in fact vain, but at times he shows qualities of major heroism and selflessness. I feel like there couldn't have been a better casting choice than Robert Downey Jr. He already has that sort of sarcastic, I'm better than you, but you know it and love me anyway kind of attitude. I bet he hardly even has to act. He's also very sarcastic and funny in the films. I can't wait to see him in the new Avengers movie. Number 1! I am the Knight. I am Justice. I am Batman. Bruce Wayne, eccentric billionaire playboy by day, dark, brooding vigilante by night. Using his own money and history and weapons tech, he created a suit that represents his childhood fear of bats to strike fear into the hearts of crime. His hunger for justice fueled by the memory of his parents gunned down before his young eyes. His mission is to bring down all criminal activity, both big and small, first in Gotham, then the world. However, he doesn't wish to fall down to the low level of criminal by killing anyone. He only locks away his adversaries. This may mean, however, they sometimes wish they were dead after the beatings they get. With a tool belt filled with things from batarangs to shark repellent to kryptonite rings, to be able to handle any and all situations thrown at him. But also something that I love about Batman is his rogues gallery, his cast of criminals. Like you may have noticed before, 4 out of 5 of my favorite villains were Batman villains. They've always interested me, and I felt that he had some of the coolest, the most intriguing, and the most colorful group of bad guys. I've loved Batman my whole life. As a kid, I just thought he was cool. No jumpsuit wearing alien for me. I wanted the tall, dark, and heroic Bat. So that is it, my top 10 favorite comic book characters. So like and share if you enjoyed, post a comment about what top 10 I should do next, and subscribe for more Zambie Killa in action. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go fight some crime. Peace.